All right, good morning, everyone. We're going to get started here on this week's edition of our lead meeting here on Thursday, October 28th. Very busy period of time, and thanks for joining us here today. You're going to notice that at least 3 from our staff are down at tennis. So if we do ask some to unmute, you may hear athletes and tennis being played in the background. Our agenda really for this week, Laura, if you could jump to that, please. And talk about the transition that we're in, and we're concluding our fall season, yet beginning our winter season this week with competitive dance. Talk about where we're at in the conversation around the shot clock. A little look ahead into participation numbers and what we're going to need and what we're going to ask of you around participation numbers. Eric's going to give you an update on Form A from our foundation. This is something that came out of our liaison meeting this past week. Very productive a meeting again with that group. And was a topic for consideration. So you hear from Eric on that. Quick takes, just be aware of certain items here again during this transition time, along with the checklist, again, that has become popular here to assist you in what you need to do either immediately or in the not too distant future. If we could continue on here, again, this fall season, we're reminded daily right now of what a great job that you're doing. We had talked about success during the regular season will lead to success in the postseason. We're reaping those benefits right now. Many of you are hosting section tournaments. Many of you are hosting quarterfinal state tournaments. Again, we can't do this without you, and we just greatly appreciate the opportunity to work with you and also what you're doing for our student athletes. We're also hearing about the excitement, right? It's been a while since we've been able to see crowds the size that we have, and just the community excitement that people are bringing to the postseason. With that in mind, make sure that you protect yourself, protect your student athletes, your admin team, making sure that your student athletes are registered for that winter season, especially if they've begun or are about to begin, along with your certification of coaches. Remember to meet that state statute. COVID guidance is where we were in the fall, right? But we're moving back inside again. So being diligent around what the best guidance is and the mitigating factors to assist us again as we continue to participate during a pandemic. Eric, anything I missed there?
I think it's a great summary, Bob. And again, as we go through our tournaments here in the fall season, want to make sure that we're doing our best to support great behavior by our fans as well. That's what makes for great experiences, and we've already had an incredible number of outstanding contests through our quarterfinals in soccer, our state tennis tournament, and we're just looking forward to much more as we move through the fall and then obviously into the winter.
Yeah, thanks, Eric. And I would note that, even as we look at some of our quarterfinals, we're anticipating big crowds, and we're going to have to consider those venues and what those look like. That's a great sign, and that's a great problem to have, again, as we move into that winter season. If we could go on to the shot clock, I feel like this has been a lengthy conversation already. Following the National Federation's approval for state adoption, that's where we are at. Remember, our staff brought the question forward. We engaged in that dialogue around our area meetings. We informed coaches, ADs, schools of the feedback form that was sent out this past Monday. We're over 200. We were over 130 almost immediately. So thank you for getting that done. Yet 200 isn't enough. This is due on Friday, right? And we need to get that number over 300 if we can, to give our board the best data as they make that decision on December 2nd. We will engage again. We'll take a look at this feedback form. We'll bring that to the board next week for a workshop discussion. And again, our board will be taking action on December 2nd around the shot clock. Again, we engaged in a really good conversation with our liaison, spent a majority of the time there, a little bit philosophical, a little bit about what it means to you if you don't have shot clocks. And even for those that do have shot clocks, what they need to do to update them or to make them work if we are to move forward with the shot clock. Again, that would not be for this season, but we will look at if there would be an appetite to approve the shot clock, when might that take place and what would that look like? How many levels, so on and so forth. Great job getting that form in for those that have done it. For those that haven't, we need that back in by this Friday again to assist our board in making that decision. Eric, anything else on this? Charlie, I would invite you. I know you're at tennis mass, but if you wanted to chime in with anything I missed, feel free to do so as well.
I think you summed it up real well, Bob. Just a push to get that number over 300.
Charlie, and Bob, I would just add that, you know, as we've talked with schools individually, or as we had our liaison meeting on Tuesday, heard some really great comments there around schools that were having these conversations, which is exactly what we want to have. And we might have one coach on one side that's in favor and one coach on the other side that may not be in favor. And that's a challenge to identify what that consensus is. And so the feedback on the factors involved are every bit as important in terms of what we're looking at and providing to our board, as opposed to just where a school stands kind of in the end. So all of that information is valuable, and just appreciate the time and the dialogue that's taken place at each one of our schools.
Yeah, great point, Eric. And we do see that split conversation philosophically on the shot clock. Reminder, you can put that right in the comment box that maybe your boys and girls coaches differ on philosophically on whether or not we need that shot clock. Again, for those that have filled out the form, thank you. What I don't want to happen as we have these conversations across the state is for a school not to be represented or for an admin team not have engaged in this conversation. And then when the board makes a decision, I worry about those that haven't done so. So please make sure not only completing that form, but you've had this conversation with your admin team at each and every one of our member schools. All right, we're going to move on from the shot clock. Eric, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk about the foundation, please.
Thanks, Bob. And it's great to have 125 or so ADs with us here again today. We wish that number were higher, because things like this are important when we start talking foundation grants. Again, a reminder that the foundation dollars are generated through our section and state tournaments, and it's the amount of state tax dollars that we are required to collect, and that is then diverted to the foundation. And so the foundation board met better than a week ago and had the conversation around the fact that we have about $450,000 to distribute to our member schools. And again, as a reminder, there is a Form A, which is really based on your socioeconomic data within your school and your participation. And then there's a Form B, which is our kind of those special need requests for grants. And the foundation board felt really strongly that the goal here is to try to get it to as many schools as possible in as equitable possible manner as they can. And so with that, they determined that all $450,000 was going to go through the Form A application. That can be found, as you see that application process, on the foundation website. It's there for you, and this will be available. And what you do is you go into that, well, that Form A application. It does also require that you work with your admin to get a board approval on the resolution that says we want to take part in this and obtain whatever portion of the funds could come to our school. So you have an application to complete and a resolution to complete, and those are due by November 30th. So that's just a month away, but now is the time. You're going to see some information again with a link in the update that comes out later today around this. And we promised that this would be the day we'd share all of that information. The website is up and running, ready to go at the foundation for you to pull those documents off and be able to address that. And again, these numbers that you're going to record are going to be numbers of free and reduced student populations from last school year. So those are the ones you submitted to MDE a year ago, not ones that currently went through in October, because those have not yet been vetted and updated as you go through the fall of the year. And last year, that number, that date of submission to MDE moved about 3 or 4 times all the way till just after holidays, I believe, to get those finalized. But last year's numbers are what you use to fill that out. Board resolution is a key aspect, and please make sure and meet that November 30th. Recognizing that we have a number of ADs that struggle to be able to attend LEAD, really appreciate if you reach out to others to provide support and help them get that filled out. We would love to, be in the number of 300 plus schools that are requesting to be able to have access to those dollars if they could. So, Bob, unless you have anything else, I'm ready to move to the next slide.
Yeah, let's do so, Eric.
All right, Laura, thanks for moving us forward. Another item for you to be working on, and you'll see this also within your checklist, is collecting participation numbers. And one of the most frequent questions is, so we just submitted information to MDE. Why is this different, or what's different when we go to provide it to the high school league? So again, MDE's primary focal point here is that they are taking a look at Title IX kinds of information, getting a sense of what that looks like. And it's a broader perspective than what the high school league is focused on. We're focused on having numbers specifically to those participants in 10 through 12 and anyone else who plays up to those levels. And that is the information that we're able to then take. And we also need the unduplicated numbers of those, because there's a number of uses that we put those into. So first of all, we want to make sure and have accurate information about where we are within our programs. We need to know when or if we have dropping numbers or we have additional waves of folks that are taking part in things. We've seen things like specialization impact their participation. Obviously, data is something that everyone is expecting that organizations have. This is our best method to have the most accurate information around what our participation looks like. We are required to share it back with the NFHS as a member of the National Federation of High Schools. So we need to collect it to turn in there. More so for us and for our member schools, this is valuable information when it comes to marketing, sponsorship, public relations, those kinds of things. It is part of what we use, and Lisa Lissamore, who works with our sponsors directly, uses this information to talk about how impactful advertising, et cetera, can be and helps to drive revenue in those particular areas. And finally, we use it for our catastrophic and concussion insurances. They will bill us based on what our participation is. The good news for us is that they cover anybody in 7th and 8th grade without having us to report those numbers. So by grade level makes a difference, as well as fine arts are covered without additional cost as well. And so please take time now to collect your fall season information. You're hanging on to that. You're going to submit in the spring, but this is that time when you, and if you're fortunate to have an administrative assistant, would be pulling this information and setting it aside and be ready for that spring submission. So a long story there, Bob, but anything that I missed?
Yeah, no, Eric, I think the benefits of having data that is accurate, right? Minnesota prides itself on having the highest participation rates in the country. And when you have that, we need that aggregate data. We need to be able to break that down. And the benefits could be, again, to our member schools, making sure that we have sponsors that are willing to support and that our catastrophic insurance dollars are accurate in terms of what we're paying. I would recommend finding a manner in which you're going to collect that data so there's no surprise when you get to May that we're looking for those numbers again. We'll continue to have this conversation, I believe, as well. We'll have it on the checklist. But don't be surprised again when we collect those participation numbers and really how they're different than what the Department of Education is seeking on October 15th. If not, let's move on to quick takes here. Thanks, Laura. Again, just a reminder, we've talked about this. Our ad hoc committee is going to start this week. We have a great committee that's going to represent the entire state as we engage in a conversation, starting with bylaw 110 and working our way into bylaw 111, with the hopefully making some recommendations in and around February on what those bylaws currently look like. Do we stay where we're at, or do we move forward with different language? Don't forget about our election day next week. Lean on bylaw 411.6 if you have questions about what you can and cannot do on an election date. There is an officials recruitment forum this Wednesday. Thank you to Jason and Pam and all of our officials for their work they'll do on, again, trying to get us more officials and again, fill that hopper here with potential officials moving forward. State tournament participation certificates, again, something that we've learned over the last 20 months. It is different. We've heard great things about that. Those are located on your AD dashboard to utilize for your liking and for a manner in which it'll be more efficient to get you those certificates with the quantity that you need. Again, located on your dashboard. Online tournament tickets and programs. That is the norm right now. Again, great job for our state quarterfinals for soccer. Down at tennis, I'm hearing good things. Prime your communities when we get to a state tournament that they will be purchasing tickets online and they can access those programs online as well. Fine arts registration is open for our judges. And then we continue to work on co-ops for the winter season. Those that we have and that have been approved, those have been placed into their recording sections, yet we continue to get new applications. Those are due 30 days prior to the start of the season. Yet we're going to work with you in situations that you weren't anticipating. Eric, anything on quick takes that needs elaboration?
No, I just want to take a moment though, if I could, Bob, and just recognize the influence that our liaisons have again, and the work that they're doing with all of our ADs across the state. We get your information that's shared with our liaisons get back to us directly. They do a great job of siphoning it back this direction and making sure that we are able to do that. And then I would just make a note again, if you have anyone in your area that would have even a slightest interest of becoming an official, getting them to take part in that recruitment forum, I think is a great way for them to kind of get a closer look at what that means. We definitely need more officials, as Bob said, in the hopper and accessible for us to be able to continue the activities that clearly our state and our students have a great appetite for.
Great, Eric. Great points. I would like to back up on that ad hoc committee as well. Eric brings up a good point with our liaisons. That ad hoc committee around eligibility bylaw 110 and 11 is advisory in nature, right? That is not privileged information. So we're going to ask that committee to share out what they've learned and what is taking place in the conversation. We'll also do so through our liaisons. Also keep you updated on lead as well. If nothing else there, Eric, let's move on to our checklist. Again, this is to assist you. We've mentioned a lot of dates where things are maybe due or that you need to continue to work on information. So this is a way for you to manage, again, what is due and when. That shot clock, we're going to get over 300 is what we've said today. That is due tomorrow. Get that in and engage in that conversation. Start working on collecting those fall season numbers. Then do so as well in the winter. So come May, that's easy for us to get those participation numbers. Again, we talked about state tournament certificates located for you to print on your dashboard. Foundation applications are due the 30th. Again, do your best, right, to prepare for those winter seasons. Protect yourself, making sure coaches' responsibilities are complete, student athletes are registered, and you have accurate information for those going into the winter season. Charlie will be engaging with many on November 16th. Make sure if you'd like to be involved in that with Inside Out, that conversation on the 16th, you need to register to do so. Also, we'll be back with you again Tuesday, November 9th. Work with your liaisons. Let us know if there are topics that you'd like us to take a deeper dive into on some of these lead meetings. I believe we're going to have that opportunity to be able to do so. Again, to use this time to allow you to do your job more effective, more efficiently in areas that maybe you are not aware of or where you need, again, a deeper dive. Let us know what those topics might be. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and conclude here, I believe. Eric, anything else as we conclude our meeting here on Thursday?
Just a big thank you to all of you on the call for making the fall season what it's been. It's been incredible to be back doing many of the things that we've done in the past. Great energy in all of our schools, and many of you hosting a number of our section tournament sites as we've gone through. And I know that that's additional work, and every one of you doing the very best there for our kids and for our community. So really appreciate the partnership that we share with our ADs across the state.
Well said, Eric. Continue to do the great work. Enjoy the rest of your week here, and we'll see you back on Tuesday, November 9th. Thank you.